hold for a very important message.
What's up, YouTube? This is Gilbert LaLaLakers back with Dizzy Gaming, here to bring you another video. So for this one, I wanted to talk about the upcoming Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, or IEM Katowice, the grand finals of the IEM season. And you should be excited, because I know I am. We have 8 teams competing from around the world. I really love these international tournaments. Of course, we have this one coming up, and we also have the Mid-Season Invitational from Riot themselves, which I'm extremely excited about. And both of these are having some pretty decent teams competing in them, so I look forward to them. I always like international events because you can kind of gauge where the different regions are against each other. Now, of course, there are some variables with the team strength individually, but for the most part, we can kind of see, is NA and EU catching up to the Asian scene? Are what are they, like the UE Flash Wolves? Is the LMS Taiwan League actually producing some competitive teams again, with like the UE Flash Wolves or one of the other teams which I can't. Oh, TPA, yes, of course, the Taipei Assassins. Yeah, so there's a lot of little smaller headlines, but overall, one thing I want to do with this video is I'm going to talk about each team, how I feel they are individually, and then we'll move on to my predictions at the end of this video. If you want to just watch the predictions of the video, feel free to click that annotation right there, and I will get that to you. So yeah, let's get on with it. So the first team I want to talk about is Cloud9, of course, from the North American LCS. Currently, Cloud9 sits, as I make this video, Cloud9 sits at an 8-4 record, tied for second place with Counter Logic, and only behind Team SoloMid, who I will get to in a little bit. And Cloud9 is one of those teams that started out kind of underwhelming. Ever since Cloud9 has been in the split, they have dominated the North American scene. They have been the ones that North America has to catch. They're very innovative in a lot of their strategies. And once again this season, although they didn't have the most amazing start, they've kind of gotten it together. They played a lot better the last few weeks, a lot more team synergy, which we're used to seeing from them. So I really expect Cloud9 to be in the right mindset for this tournament. They always highly praise the international experience that they have gotten in the past. And I think that that's going to carry over into this tournament. I think they will be well prepared for their competition. Now, of course, they have to go against the GE Tigers in the first round, which I'll get to. Yeah, it's extremely exciting, and I really feel that Cloud9 can be a dark horse in this tournament. I hate to say that from a team that's so well known internationally from North America. They obviously get a lot of attention, but a lot of people are seeing that just because they're playing the GE Tigers means that they're going to get destroyed, shit on, and have a poor performance. I really don't believe so. I really think that this can be, even with a loss to the GE Tigers, this team can kind of bounce back and take some good stuff from that match, whether they win or lose, and use it to improve in the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for Cloud9. For the GE Tigers, we have a current record. Okay, so the GE Tigers are coming in with a 9-0 record in the LCK. They have beat everyone through the first rotation of the split. They have not had anyone pick up a series against them, and it's showing that this team is ready to compete. A lot of these guys, I feel that the motivation for the GE Tigers was that a lot of these guys were overlooked when the free agency frenzy was happening. A lot of teams had to cut back because they had sister teams. So a lot of these guys didn't make the main roster. Instead, they formed the GE Tigers, and now they are actually the team to beat in LCK, which I think is outstanding. They have a couple well-known players. We have Prey and Gorilla in the bot lane, Kuro in the mid lane, and Smeb in the top lane. Now they also add Lee to that for their jungler. Kuro, one thing I want to mention, recently has been playing a lot of Victor mid. I don't know how well that's going to transition into future patches. I don't know if that was just a one-patch kind of select pick, like a situational pick for him. But from my understanding at the time of this video is recorded, he's played Victor and prioritized it the last 4 games for the GE Tigers. That's pretty awkward. Victor is not really seen throughout the entire world scene, let alone in the best, arguably, region, LCK. I don't know if that's going to transfer. I really feel that it's kind of just one of those picks that they'll play it until, because they feel it's good. It's not exactly the safest pick that there is out there. I really expect Koro to go back to maybe some of his prior champions before he started playing Victor. I definitely see Xerath and LeBlanc being the ones that stand out to me. I feel that he can really dominate with those picks, and those are kind of safer picks in a way. So we'll see what exactly the GE Tigers are going for. The strong suit of the Tigers is their efficiency around the map, whether it's early game or mid lane or mid game or late game. They don't exactly have a weak point. There's not like with Cloud9, for example, who I just talked about and who they will be playing. Most people know Cloud9 as a kind of a weak laning phase team, and then they transition over to the mid game extremely well in most instances, and then their late game is pretty good. Whereas the GE Tigers right now, I feel that they don't really excel in a certain point. They don't have like a fantastic early game and then a great mid game. They kind of are just great throughout the entire game, which is, led to their 9-0 record. Teams haven't found out a way to consistently beat the GE Tigers yet. I do feel it's coming. I do think that teams are providing more competition than they were earlier in the split. But this is a team, like I said, of guys that were in a way outcasts that are trying to prove something, to prove that they are some of the best players in League of Legends. And I think they're doing a pretty damn good job of it right now. One thing that Doa and Monte Cristo, the play-by-play analysts for the LCK, the English version, they noted the other day on the broadcast that this team knows how to funnel its kills into Prey. Prey has the top KDA in Korea. I believe he's either number 1 or number 2. It's him and EasyHoon. I believe EasyHoon may have actually overtaken him. But Prey has played more games. He's played every single game for the GE Tigers, while as EasyHoon has kind of alternated with Faker. So I guess his statistics are a little bit diluted. But Prey has been a consistent carry for this team, just as they need him to be. He has a 9.8 KDA at the moment, and as mentioned, GE Tigers, they know that if a kill is about to come up, they try to make sure that Prey gets it. They try to make sure that Coral gets it, and that Lee, Smeb, Gorilla get assists on them. They try to make sure there's team synergy, even down into the statistics and the gold earned, which I think is fantastic. They have the right approach to the game, and that's why they are the heavy favorites coming into the tournament. Do I think a team can beat them? Yes, I do, and we will get to that when I get onto the other teams participating. So the next game we have here, let me just bring up the standings right quick. We have SK Gaming. So let me just run through the roster for this team. We have Freddy112 in the top lane, Svetskaren in the jungle, Fox in the mid lane, Forgiven, Grease as the AD carry, and N-Rated on support. Currently, SK Gaming holds a 9-3 record, tied for first place with Fnatic in the EU LCS. And this is a team, I really like the participants that came from Europe in this tournament, because we have, on one hand, we have SK Gaming, a team that started out explosive, one of the best records in LCS history to start. I want to say they went 8-0 before they picked up their first loss. So we have them who are slowly starting to trickle down the standings. They had that outstanding start. Fnatic kind of kept pace with them for most of the start of the split as well. And now they're fighting with Fnatic and H2K Gaming. And even one could argue Gambit Gaming, who is the other team participating from EU, for that first spot. And it's not looking as easy as it was, as they made it look in the early part of the season. So SK Gaming's strengths lie in their bot lane. AD carry Forgiven is sporting a 13.6 KDA at the moment. That's quite fucking impressive. They also have Svetsgaren's pressure from the jungle. He is known as one of the best junglers, in my opinion, in the world, but definitely in EU. He really knows how to set up pressure throughout the lane. He kind of ganks a lot, from my experience of watching them. And Fox is a mid laner that they like to boast as not even reaching his potential yet, but yet he's still performing quite well against one of the most mid lane centric regions on Earth with the EU LCS. So Fox is one of those players that he's sporting a 4.8 KDA, which is very good right now. I don't think that's fantastic, but it's fairly good for a team that's 9-3. And for a person that many may not have known, coming into the split. But if Fox can really be consistent, they don't need him to carry. They have Forgiven for that. They need him to just not lose, which is something he's been doing very good at for this first half of the season. I think that as long as he doesn't try to do too much, this team will be fine. Their carries are very smart with their positioning. They know when to go for the kills and when it's too much of a risk to back down. The warding issue that has been there since the beginning of the season is going to be exploited by some of the Chinese and Korean teams if they face off, in my opinion. I definitely think that those regions prioritize warding a lot better than the West and other global regions. So I do think that SK Gaming has a couple weaknesses that can be exploited, and their first matchup against, let me see, who is it? Against the UE Flash Wolves, I feel is going to be one of the most exciting in the whole tournament, because I actually find the UE Flash Wolves to be a lot more competitive than a couple teams may think. So yeah, I definitely am excited to watch this team, and watch their first round matchup. I really think that this team is one of the best in Europe, but I have a feeling that they may perform slightly weak in this tournament and then bounce back in the second half of the season. So as mentioned, let me move on to the UE Flash Wolves, which are a team from the LMS Taiwan region. And they are sporting a 14-1 record, tied with the Taipei Assassins, who have long since dominated this region, even going back to before it was split into two regions. So they are a very successful team right now. They are currently 3 or 4 games ahead of even the third place team, which would be Hong Kong Esports or AHQ. So this team knows how to win. They've obviously been performing very well. Their roster is top lane Stake, AD carry NL, mid lane Maple. Let me see here. Their support is Sword Art. And their jungler, I'm trying to see here. Sorry about that. On the team roster, it has them all bunched up instead of in order. So it looks like their jungler will be Karsa, and their mid laner may be MMD. So they have 2 playable mid laners, which is a trend that's catching on with the substitutions being so prominent. Stake, you may remember from the Gamma Bears in the Season 3 World Championships. He's actually one of the stars of the team. Sword Art, from their support position, is also one of the highlighted players, in my opinion. The couple games that I've seen them, Stake and Sword Art always tend to be one of the players that get out ahead early and give the UE Flash Wolves a generous lead to work with throughout most of their games. The UE Flash Wolves are also the only team to have taken down the Taipei Assassins. As you can see, they're 14-1. So they are the only ones that have been able to compete against the best in the region. And they recently performed well at the IEM. I don't remember the last IEM, but they recently performed well at the last IEM. And I really feel that this team is a little bit underrated by everyone's lack of interest in the region. It's definitely full of talent. The region has kind of not performed well in the global stage in the past, and I can understand the skepticism looking at the past performance carrying over to this one. But I really feel that this is the year that they will finally have a couple teams that actually compete at the highest levels. I think TPA is ready, and I think the UE Flash Wolves are ready to compete, to make the next step and not just be good in the region, but to be good by a global standard. Um, I really feel that they are another upset potential. They have upset potential as well, just like C9 does, to make this tournament theirs. I don't think that they will be a winner by any means, but I think that they can go pretty far for a team that's not very known. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next bracket, where we have Gambit Gaming versus CJ Entus. Wow, what a matchup. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Gambit Gaming first. So Gambit Gaming is currently sporting a 7-5 record in the EU LCS. We all know that they started out very weak in the beginning half of the season. I want to say about 0-4 before they started winning, and they have translated that to 7-5 record and are now solely in the 4th place position behind H2K, SK Gaming, who I spoke of, and Fnatic. Gambit Gaming, as I mentioned, on the other hand, we had SK Gaming, who started out amazing and then is kind of trickling down the standings, whereas we have Gambit, who started out very poorly and have now risen to one of the top competitors in EU, which is where we're used to seeing them. So let me go ahead and go on with the roster for Gambit. They have Cabochard in the top lane, Diamond or Diamond in the jungler, Betsy in the mid lane, which was one of the newer additions, Pinoy on AD carry, and then support is Edward, of course, which you all know and love. So Betsy, as I mentioned, recently replaced Nick, Nick was only sporting a 2.4 KDA for the portion of the season that he played. Betsy, in the few games that he has played, already has a 6.1 KDA. So if you have a lot more performance from your mid laner, that's going to transition to a lot better performance overall. Mid lane is obviously one of the most important roles in League of Legends. I mean, every role has arguably humongous impact on the game. Mid lane is just one of those ones where if a mid laner gets going, it makes things a lot easier on everyone else around the map because of the positioning of the mid lane and how close it is in proximity to the other areas of the map that are very important. So Betsy in the mid lane, he has been performing quite well. I do think that that'll carry over into this tournament. I wouldn't say he's exactly an international talent. I don't think he makes a lot of noise in the international stage. But I don't think that he's going to be a player that will struggle. You know, if he would have struggled, we would have seen it from the beginning when he's facing off against other European talent. Although he probably does have one of his biggest challenges coming up in Coco for CJ Entus, I feel that he's going to perform pretty well. You know, this team is in high spirits coming into this tournament after their very strong start. Diamond is obviously one of the most experienced junglers in the international scene, and Pinoy and Edward have been very aggressive bot lane that gets quite a bit of kills when they get going. So I'm going to be very interested to see where Gambit Gaming can find their holes in against this competition. CJ obviously has a lot of problems, so I do think that there will be opportunities for teams like Gambit and other teams facing CJ to take advantage of that. But realistically, I just don't feel they have the talent, like mechanically, to compete at the top levels in international. But we shall see. They have proved many people wrong in the past. The recent IEM win going a couple months back was a surprise to most people. Their slow start was a surprise, and then now their recent win streak was a surprise. So this team is just full of surprises. We'll see if they can bring out a surprise at the IEM World Finals. So the team that Gambit Gaming will be playing, as mentioned, CJ Entus. They are currently 4th place in the LCK region. They recently came off a loss to SKT Telecom, which took over 3rd place for them. And this team started out really well. They were looking like one of the better teams in Korea to start and gave a lot of CJ fans a lot of hope, but recently have not looked very sharp in their performances. They've still been getting wins, over the teams that they should beat, but they just haven't made that next step over, beating the GE Tigers would have been fantastic. Losing to Jin Air and SKT were pretty bad for their standings, for their standing position. So let's go ahead and go on to the CJ roster, which you guys, even if you're not big into the esports side of League of Legends, you may have heard of some of these players because they are well known for their roles. So in the top lane we have Shy, in the jungler we have Ambition, mid lane we have Coco, at the AD carry we have Space, and for support we have Godlife himself, Madlife. So a very entertaining team when they go off. They definitely have the talent to make some huge plays, which is actually something that I think is underrated. A lot of teams don't have that ability to rely on a player to make the outstanding, flashy, go-for-it plays, the ones that are high risk, high reward. And this is definitely a team that can bring those plays, can pull those plays out of their ass. And, big plays like that, like a steal at Baron, like an ace randomly at 22 minutes, can lead to much bigger things when they are successful in them. Shy has not sported the best KDA so far this split. He's currently sitting at a 2.9 KDA, which isn't fantastic. Ambition is in the same boat at 2.7 KDA. They have not, I wouldn't say they've been underperforming. They just haven't been consistent. There have been some games where Shy gets his Mundo and just roams around in a team fight, destroying everything. But then there's also been the same type of games where Shy will get a Mundo and he's running around everything, but the rest of CJ isn't in sync and they get killed. Meanwhile, Shy has to run away and doesn't have as big of an impact. It seems like there are some lapses in judgment for the CJ team, which have hurt them in the past, especially against playing in a region like the LCK where every week you have to bring it, unless you're against Samsung, sorry. But every week you have to bring it. And they haven't been able to consistently put together an effort week in, week out to stay at top of the standings. I personally do feel that this team is a lot better, though, than most people give them credit. A lot of people think that they were kind of a little bit overrated at the beginning of the season because of how they performed and, the teams that they beat. But Coco is one of the best mechanical mid laners in the world, in my opinion. He is very, very strong. He has stepped it up, taking more of a carry role on this team. In the past, he was kind of more of a passive mid laner, in my opinion. He wasn't really one that will take the risk to get those kills. Whereas now, I think he's confident enough with his champion pool that he is willing to take those risks, and it has proven more effective for CJ overall. Space in the bot lane with Madlife. Although Madlife isn't the same Madlife that we all know and love, that was pulling out the flash, flay, hooks, lanterns, everything from the support position, he's kind of been defaulting to more the meta standard picks. Janna has been extremely popular for him in the last couple weeks. And I really do feel that Madlife still has the mechanics. Every now and then we still see an amazing Howling Gale from Madlife or an amazing flash play that will save someone. Like he still has that mechanical prowess to make the big plays seem routine. I think we just have a little bit of too high expectations for Madlife. But if you step out and just take everything you know about Madlife out of the equation, I still think he is one of the best performing supports in not only in the LCK but in the world. I think he is a very solid support, and he's going to bring a lot to the CJ Entus team, not only for this IEM but also for future part of the season. So yeah, really excited to see CJ back on the international stage. Obviously, it's been a while since that's happened. But yeah, I think that they're going to perform pretty well. I think that they are going to perform pretty well. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next team here. Let's see what it is. Team SoloMid, obviously, from the North American LCS. First place in the North American LCS. Sporting a 9-3 record, currently 1 game ahead of Cloud9 and CounterLogic Gaming, who are tied for second. And a lot of people thought that they got a favorable matchup in Team WE. I would tend to agree, honestly. But this team is playing fantastic right now. So let's go run over the roster just in case you don't know. We have Dyrus in the top lane, Santorin in the jungle, Bjergsen in mid, Wild Turtle in AD carry, and Lustboy on support, formerly of CJ. So yeah, this team has kind of showed the synergy that we were expecting from past TSM teams as well as CLG teams. You know, a lot of people say that the team strategy of North America is probably a little bit on the lower end on the global scale. This team proves otherwise. They have strategies. They definitely prepare. I think the addition of Loco Doco has been tremendous for this organization. I think he has done a fantastic job with this team. They realize that Bjergsen is their carry, and they kind of centralize everything around him, but they have enough strong pieces individually that they don't need Bjergsen to have an amazing game to be able to win. Usually Bjergsen performs at the very least equal with his mid lane opponent, which is a talent in itself, I feel. He never really falls behind. He's always able to contribute to team fights because he's farmed up efficiently, or he got that 1 or 2 kills early. That solo kill that he brings out every now and then, which is extremely tough to do. But they also have the talent in Dyrus. You know, Dyrus can have his big games where he dominates the top laner, the opposing top laner. Santorin has an amazing assist contribution rate for the North American LCS. He's sporting a 6.7 KDA right now. Obviously, we have Bjergsen at 9.1, leading the North American in the KDA aspect. And Wild Turtle has been known to go crazy sometimes, sometimes a little too crazy. But he's definitely a very aggressive AD carry that has shown mixed results at international level. I feel that this team right here is just that. They are a team. They are a fantastic unit as 5, and they are probably the best team in North America right now, standings aside. You know, obviously standings will prove that, but I really feel that they have performed the best. They've shown the most innovation and can probably make the most noise in this IEM tournament. All right, so let's go ahead to their competitors, which will be, let's see here. Top lane, Team WE. All right, so for Team WE, we have Ninja in the mid lane. We have Spirit in the jungle. We have Conan on support, Styes as the AD carry, and Aluka in the top lane. So Team WE is currently sitting at, let me get their record up here. They're currently sitting at a 1-7-4 record in the LPL. That's 1 win, 7 losses, and 4 ties. They're currently sitting at 7 ladder points, which puts them 1 ladder point ahead of Energy Pacemaker for the last position. This has definitely been a team that has struggled by not having that star power. They just don't have a lot of talent as a team, unfortunately. Spirit has done his best to try to do as much as possible for this team. Styes as well, you know, does have a couple games where he looks very proficient from the AD carry position. But as a unit, this team just doesn't have it. I really feel that their warding is weak compared to the other LPL participants. It could be from them just getting behind so much that they just don't have an opportunity to ward, which does exist, in my opinion. I do feel that if you get too behind, it makes it really difficult to ward effectively, which is pretty obvious. But yeah, this is definitely a team that lacks that star power. They don't have a player that they can just say, all right, he's going to win this lane, or he's going to carry us through the early part, or he's going to carry us through team fights. They just don't have that safety net to fall back on. And I really feel that this team struggles with strategy overall. I don't see a lot of innovation from them. They kind of just stick to the meta and get beat at it. I do feel that this team is not really ready for an international competition at this level right now. They need to maybe do a couple roster changes or just perform better, realistically. There's not much to be said about Team WE in that aspect. They just have to play better. I do think that maybe teams will overlook them a bit, kind of view them as maybe the weakest team in the tournament. I think that might be arguable with the Flash Wolves, but I think maybe teams will overlook them and give up a game or two. I just don't see Team WE performing very well in this tournament. So for the last oh wait, that's all the teams actually. So those will be all the teams competing. So let's go ahead and move on to the brackets and how I feel is going to work out. So the first matchup we have is Cloud9 versus the GE Tigers. GE is obviously coming in as the easy favorites for this tournament. They are currently sitting at 9-0 in the LCK as mentioned. The only other Korean team that's in this tournament would be, CJ Entus, which has kind of stumbled recently. And the only LPL representative in this tournament would be Team WE, who is obviously not one of the strongest teams in the LPL at this moment. So I would feel that out of the strongest regions, GE is looking to add this IEM championship to their belt. They are going off against the North American Cloud9. Since I didn't mention it before, the roster for Cloud9 is, of course, Balls in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, High in the mid lane, Sneaky and AD carry, and Elimination on support. I do feel that Sneaky will be able to hold his own in the bot lane, but I'm not too confident on Elimination. It's not to say that Elimination is a bad player by any means. It's just that Prey and Gorilla are kind of playing out of their minds right now. They have been quite on a roll, and I really feel that their pressure that they create in the bottom lane is going to be a little bit more than what C9 is used to from their past competition. I want to say that GE will 2-0, or is it? Oh, it's just a best of one. I'm sorry. So I feel that GE will advance past Cloud9, make it to the quarterfinals, whereas Cloud9 will fall into the losers bracket. And I definitely think that Cloud9 can make noise from the losers bracket, but I'll get to that right now. So the SK Gaming versus Flash Wolves matchup, I want to say that the Flash Wolves will win. Like I mentioned before, I feel that this is probably one of the best matchups for the first round. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting. I am going to say that SK Gaming does pick up the win, though. I think it's going to be a hard-fought series. But yes, SK Gaming would be my prediction to advance and play the GE Tigers, knocking UE Flash Wolves into the losers bracket. So the next matchup we have would be Gambit Gaming versus CJ Entus. I'm going to predict that CJ Entus does win this matchup, although Gambit looks fairly strong recently. I don't feel that they'd have the talent to compete with CJ just from a mechanical standpoint. And of course, strategically, I do think that the Korean League is a little bit ahead still in execution once it starts getting to the mid lane and team fighting part of League of Legends. So I will predict CJ Entus advances past Gambit Gaming. For the last matchup in the first round, we have Team SoloMid versus Team WE. I will predict that Team SoloMid, as is probably the favorite, Team SoloMid will advance and play CJ Entus in the next round. So for the losers bracket, we have, according to my predictions, we have Cloud9 versus UE Flash Wolves. And I'm going to say that the UE Flash Wolves will beat Cloud9 and advance to the quarterfinals. That is just my prediction. I do have a lot of faith in Cloud9 to perform well, but I also can see them performing fairly weak in this tournament. They have not been the same Cloud9 they have not shown the same Cloud9 dominance that they have in the past North American scene. Granted, I do believe that North America has gotten stronger. I just feel that there are some weaknesses that teams are finding out, and with some proper scouting, I do think that the UE Flash Wolves have the talent to beat Cloud9, and to advance. So yeah. So the next matchup we have in the losers bracket, we have Gambit Gaming versus Team WE. I think this will be an easy win for Gambit Gaming. I really feel that they are a strong team that just got the short end of the stick in the first round, having to play CJ, same as Cloud9. And I feel that Gambit Gaming will bounce back and get back into this tournament. So for the next round matchup, we have the GE Tigers versus SK Gaming. I'm going to say that GE Tigers win this one fairly easily. Wow, that was hard to say. Fairly convincingly. Here, how's that? The GE Tigers, once again, their strengths are just well known, and their weaknesses are not. And that has led to a lot of teams struggling against them. And I do think that any team that wins between SK Gaming or the UE Flash Wolves will have trouble facing off against the GE Tigers. So the next matchup we have on the other side of the bracket would be CJ Entus versus Team SoloMid, which I think has a lot of potential to be a fantastic series. I do think that this is the West's best chance to beat a Korean team in an international tournament for the first time in a while. So Team SoloMid, I feel, has the talent to match up with CJ. I think the mid lane is going to be a lot closer than people may think. I think the support, Lustboy versus Mad Life, they obviously have a lot of experience playing against each other as formerly being a part of sister organizations with CJ. I definitely think that this is going to be a fantastic matchup if we get to see it. I do predict that CJ will advance past TSM if this matchup occurs. And yeah, it'll be CJ versus GE in the finals. Or I'm sorry, CJ versus, let me see, who is it? CJ versus, is it WE? No, CJ versus Gambit? Possibly? Yeah, CJ versus Gambit? Or CJ versus the winner of Gambit and the Flash Wolves. Okay, so it'd be CJ and GE in the finals. Okay, that's just my prediction. Sorry it's been so messy, guys. I didn't really plan this video out as effectively as I wanted to, as organized as I wanted to. So the prediction for my finals would be the GE Tigers versus CJ Entus. Now, of course, it's going to be a best-of-5 finals, which I'm excited about. I think that's fantastic. I do see the GE Tigers winning this one. I don't see a team that can easily beat them in a best-of-5. I think out of any of the teams that have the possibility of beating them, I would say it will be between Team SoloMid, believe it or not, and CJ Entus. Now, this isn't exactly just my North American bias. I really feel that Team SoloMid has the talent to compete at an international level this season. I think this is the best roster that they've thrown out to us in the last few years. The most talented, the most team synergy, the most team synergy overall, the best strategies that they've had. I do think that CJ Entus has the talent to beat GE Tigers, as they've shown in the past. They've been able to compete with a lot of the high-level Korean teams. I feel that we are going to see some surprising matchups overall, but the finals will not be one of them. I look forward to seeing GE Tigers win the IEM, but I look forward to the entire tournament as a whole, as it's fantastic international play for League of Legends. So yeah, guys, sorry for the extremely long video. The preview videos tend to be like that. I try to get as in-depth as possible with these teams and with the participants and with my predictions. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like the video, subscribe for more future esports related video. The website is expected to launch later this month, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, feel free to check out some other videos as well. This has been Gilbert LaLaLakers with Dizzy Gaming, and also check out the TGN YouTube network, which I will make an announcement on, a formal announcement in a future video. We've teamed up with them, and I'm extremely excited to be a part of their fantastic gaming network, and I look forward to bringing you some more better content in the future. So once again, thanks for everything, you guys. You viewers make it possible, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Laters. Stay competitive.